Well, the most predictable divorce is finally come to fruition. Elon Musk and Donald Trump are now in the Ron Burgundy fight portion of their relationship. Literally, I think brick killed a man. Epstein files, government contracts. The two of them have gone nuclear. If you haven't been keeping up, literally in the last few hours, it started, of course, with Elon Musk saying the big, beautiful bill was terrible. And that escalated. And then Trump escalated, finally, during an Oval Office conversation with the new chancellor of Germany. He essentially just said he would have won without Elon Musk. Of course, Elon Musk decided to let Trump know without his help, Trump loses the presidency, Democrats hold the House, and Republicans only have a 51-49 Senate. I was trying to see if he was right about that one. I actually give Musk credit. I think he's right, because I don't that even without his involvement, Republicans still hang on to the Senate. So I actually think in that sense his handicapping was correct there. But all of a sudden this escalated quickly. Trump goes on Truth Social and drops the first nuclear bomb. And he says the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. And literally 30 minutes later, little over 30 minutes later, Elon Musk goes on X and says, time to drop the really big bomb. See, they've been exchanging bombs. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. So look, there's a huge part of me, not a small part of me, a huge part of me that says, be careful assuming this is a big deal. Why do I say that? Because at the end of the day, Elon Musk will still need something from Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will still need something from Elon Musk, and Donald Trump always kowtows to wealthy people. Always kowtows to wealthy people. Remember that. Always does. Jeff Bezos hit him. Didn't matter. He will always let a person who is wealthier than he is back in his good graces if they want to come back in his good graces. There's usually a price, but they will be there. Elon Musk does need he can't. SpaceX cannot run without the government. Okay, there is no SpaceX. There is no space program, arguably right now, without SpaceX, and vice versa. So this isn't as much as they're threatening nuclear bombs at each other. I'm trying to be realistic here, and just do keep in mind that as entertaining as this may be, if you can't stand Trump, or as entertaining as you think this is, you can't stand Musk, can't stand both of them. Maybe you like both of them and you're torn. However you want to look at it, just realize that in many ways, these guys are the same guy, because this is their fundamental belief system, right? They both believe, if I did you a favor, you have to be loyal to me all the time. How do we know this with Donald Trump? Look at how he's complaining about Amy Coney Barrett. He doesn't think Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, who he nominated for the Supreme Court, he doesn't understand why they ever rule against him. He thinks because he appointed them, they should always rule in his favor, no matter what the Constitution says. And he's been quite irritated that now Neil Gorsuch has been more in line with what Trump has wanted than either Kavanaugh or Barrett had. But the point is, you need to understand that to understand his binary thinking. And then, of course, he believes he gave Elon Musk all of this. So how could Musk ever turn on him? Now, the same is true with Elon Musk. He believes, hey, if I've financially helped you, you've got to be loyal to me for good. He's that way in his personal relationships. He gets angry anytime anybody he is financially supporting questions something he's done. He lashes out. So in many ways, they both believe that influence and buys loyalty, that all loyalty is for sale, right? And that if you are not sufficiently loyal because I've given you financial help, or you're not sufficiently loyal because I've given you a place in politics, you're dead to them, right? And now the two of them essentially are applying their own sort of loyalty tests to each other. And the problem is they're the same guy. They have this same, this is what it is, and they're both going to be stubborn. And so this may be how you end up in a virtual nuclear war, right? This is why, by the way, temperament matters in actual world leaders, right? Can you imagine? Oh, wait, one of them does have the nuclear codes. I'm sitting here going, can you imagine if both of these men had the nuclear codes? The scary thing is Elon Musk might be able to hack his way, at least into North Korea, and get their nuclear codes. But this is why you should care about temperament in your leadership. why you can't have ill-tempered people running a company, let alone running a country. Because this is the situation you find yourself in. It is certainly amusing. It is certainly predictable. And that's the other thing in the Trump era. This was the most predictable split, and yet you just didn't know the day it was. It's funny how the Trump era works. No matter how predictable something is in the Trump era, it's still shocking how it ends, even though you have an idea it'll end badly, right? One of my favorite lines to quote pretty much about anything in life these days is in the movie Cocktail. Towards the end of that movie, the bartender says, everything ends badly or else it wouldn't end. There's some truth to that, right? There's no, Johnny Carson and Tom Brokaw feels like the only two guys that actually got to end something on their terms. Most of the time in life, you don't get to end things on your terms. In fact, the very end of life is usually a disruptive thing it's not necessarily a happy thing. So it was inevitable that this was going to end badly. Now, the question is, when you have an erratic, anything could happen here. Look, Trump got mad at Zelensky and yanked aid to Ukraine for about a week, but he eventually gave it back. So, we should be prepared for any outcome over the next week in the Musk-Trump relationship. If they patch things up and have a fun, freewheeling press conference in the Oval, that wouldn't surprise me. And they would just chalk this up to, are you not entertained? As our friend at the CNN contributor, Mr. Jennings, liked to say all the time, are you not entertained? And if you see politics as entertainment, this is just another chapter in their entertainment files. But you could also see, Elon Musk being super stubborn for years on this, and maybe he does. He's threatening to fund a third party. Kind of ironic this week that the episode of the podcast, my most current episode right now, is with the CEO of the Forward Party, which was founded by another entrepreneur, but not as erratic in his temperament as Mr. Musk, and that's Andrew Yang, who was a bit of a actually online phenomenon back in 2020, arguing that, hey, there has to be a better way. There's got to be something in the middle. I do think that Elon Musk has gotten a 6-month education into politics, that he really was pretty naive. He really didn't know much about American politics. It was pretty clear to me for a long time that he didn't understand American politics. I still think he doesn't quite get it, doesn't quite understand how it works. But I think he believes he has so much money that he can disrupt it anyway, even if he doesn't understand how something works. A little bit is that is a little bit of the cockiness of Silicon Valley. I think a lot of people in Silicon Valley are very dismissive of any sort of business or institution that they didn't help build. And they think, I know better. And there can be that arrogance that comes across from them. And I think Musk has that arrogance. But let's be realistic. In some ways, Ross Perot's launch of the Reform Party and his success was due to just personal bitterness. He was angry at the Bushes. He was angry at some Texas Republicans. Then he thought, you know what, why not? And all of a sudden it turned into a movement. So the point is, any outcome is possible here right now. If you told me Elon Musk decided to keep this scorched earth campaign going on Trump and then literally started recruiting, funding the Libertarian Party with money that they've never seen before, funding a Forward Party, funding a new effort, wouldn't shock me. Remember, he's got money to burn. Literally, he's willing to burn money up. He did it in Wisconsin in that Supreme Court race. But if you also told me that Elon Musk cares about the future of SpaceX, which, again, SpaceX would not exist without the federal government, right? And yet NASA can't exist right now without SpaceX. So there is a reality check here in this relationship that I'm very curious to see how this somehow goes forward, if this feud indeed is as escalatory as it currently is. But the only thing about this is that neither gentleman knows how to back down. Yes, we know Donald Trump is Mr. Taco. Trump always chickens out. So I don't think he will gut NASA, because the only way to harm Elon would be to harm NASA. And that's an uncomfortable place to be. What Donald Trump's done with our economy and with tariffs and with universities, he's already done a lot of self-harm to the American economy. I just can't imagine that he would actually do that to the space program. And yet, there is going to be a part of him that feels as if he can't let Elon challenge his manhood, right? And so what happens when you have a powerful person and a wealthy person with the id of a 13-year-old? And that's essentially what we're dealing with right now. Two 13-year-olds without parental supervision who are not sure any guardrails have ever been built that should stop them. As entertaining and as funny as you might find it, this is actually kind of a scary moment. And this is why we should always be reminding ourselves that character and temperament matter in our politics. How a leader handles moments like this is whether a country continues to be stable or not stable. So prepare for any outcome on this one. But I will say this, there's the great metaphor, the frog and the scorpion. And I asked on Twitter earlier today, who is the scorpion and who is the frog in this relationship between Musk and Trump? But I will say this, anybody who wants to just be anti-Musk and sidles with Trump, or wants to be anti-Trump and sidles up to Musk, just be warned. They both might be the scorpion.